On January 26, 2020, at around 10 a.m., a shocking helicopter crash occurred in Calabasas, California, United States. Even if you don't know basketball, it's the name you've heard of. Kobe Bryant, who has been in the NBA for 20 years and has broken many records. The aircraft in the accident was his private helicopter. All 9 passengers, including Kobe Bryant and his daughter, died in the accident. What happened to this aircraft, operated by a veteran instructor pilot? According to the investigation, the helicopter has a visibility of 4 kilometers within an hour after takeoff. However, as the fog had thickened, helicopter was unable to operate VFR. The pilot, who was unable to see with terrain visually, seems to have crashed while trying to fly at too low altitude. Under official weather where VFR was not available, how could the pilot continue to fly VFR? Because the pilot chose the special VFR. In the previous video, we learned 2 ways of flying, VFR and IFR, but there is a third way. Special Visual Flight Rule, short Special VFR, is that.
Suppose the patient transport helicopter is flying VFR, but what if the weather gets bad and the controller notifies the pilot that VFR is no longer possible? The aircraft is not equipped with IFR-capable instruments, and the pilot was not qualified to fly IFR. To make matters worse, patient must be transported in the shortest amount of time. The pilot determines that he can maintain VFR with good flight visibility and there are no clouds around him. At this time, the pilot can request special VFR from the controller. In other words, a special situation is a case where the VFR flight is officially impossible, but the pilot can maintain the VFR conditions at discretion. Special VFR is a way of flight to efficiently cope with changes in situations at the pilot's discretion. What rules should pilots and controllers follow for special VFR? Let's look at the pilot's side first. Since the official weather is not capable of VFR operations, the pilot should be careful when requesting special VFR. The pilot must fully explain his intentions to the air traffic controller and obtain permission. If the pilot requests special VFR, the controller issues the permission as follows. Maintain special VFR conditions. For general takeoff or landing clearance, the term cleared is used, such as cleared for takeoff or cleared to land. However, when giving clearance to special VFR, the term maintain is issued. This means that the pilot should maintain VFR-capable conditions. What is a possible condition for special VFR that the pilot should maintain? If taking off or landing, the official visibility of the airport shall be at least 1 statute mile. If no official visibility is reported or during a flight, the pilot's flight visibility shall be at least 1 statute mile. Since the pilot needs to visually check his surroundings, he must fly away from the clouds. The pilot shall comply with the VFR minimum safety altitude and be able to fly while continuously looking at the ground. Aircraft that cannot immediately switch to IFR are prohibited from flying after sunset. Special VFR is only specifically permitted when requested by a pilot. Special VFR does not mean that the aircraft can ignore the rules for VFR. So, should controllers give special priority to special VFR aircraft? No. The controller permits special VFR only if it does not cause delays in arriving or departing IFR aircraft. IFR aircraft must not be delayed or diverted in order to give priority to special VFR aircraft. If VFR is not possible, it is normal to fly in the IFR and priority is given to aircraft flying according to the normal procedure. This is because special VFR is just approved for flight efficiency and is not intended for special handling. If a special VFR aircraft is expected to be delayed due to an IFR aircraft, the controller shall inform the special VFR aircraft of the expected delay time. Special VFR aircrafts are assigned an altitude of at least 500 feet lower than IFR aircraft, but must not be issued a fixed altitude. What if the controller instructs the aircraft like this? Maintain 1000 until leaving north 10 miles. Is that an appropriate instruction for special VFR aircraft? No. The fixed altitude is not available for special VFR aircraft that need to fly away from the clouds. Special VFR has a special exception. The exception is helicopters. Even if they are not equipped with instruments that can be converted to IFR flight immediately, helicopters can fly after sunset. Even in situations where visibility is less than 1 statute mile, special VFR flying is not always prohibited. The reason for allowing these exceptions to helicopters can be found in the characteristics of helicopters and the purpose of their flight. Helicopters have good accessibility to various terrains which cannot be compared to a fixed wing. Landing is possible in relatively narrow spaces, and it can fly slowly or even stop in the air. Because of these characteristics, it is often used for police, firefighting, and lifeguard missions. In order to maximize the efficiency of the flight, according to the pilot's real-time judgment in an emergency, it can be said that the range of flight available for helicopters are expanded. Let's summarize what we have seen so far. On the pilot's side, 1. If VFR operation is not possible, a pilot can request special VFR, and a pilot must obtain permission from an air traffic controller. 2. The airport's official visibility or flight visibility must be at least 1 statute mile. 3. Fly away from the clouds. 4. Pilots must fly above the VFR minimum safety altitude. 5. Pilots should be able to see the ground visually while flying. On the controller's side, 1. Do not delay IFR aircrafts to permit special VFR. 2. Assign an altitude of at least 500 feet lower than IFR aircrafts. 3. Do not assign a fixed altitude. 4. For helicopters only, special VFR is permitted at night and below 1 statute mile visibility.
Pilots should not abuse special VFR by considering flight efficiency only in bad weather conditions. It is better to follow the VFR and IFR principles according to the weather, but if special VFR is required, the pilot should be careful in his judgment. Keep in mind when trying to fly in the vicinity of a busy airport, there may be delays caused by IFR aircrafts, and the delays can lead to dangerous situations. That's not to say that special VFR is unconditionally dangerous. It is sometimes the best way to smooth the flow of flight through comprehensive judgment, such as clouds and flight visibility on the flight path that only a pilot in flight can judge. The controller does not need to handle special VFR aircraft specifically. However, if you have given special VFR permission, you need to pay more attention to them. The choice and execution of Plan B in air traffic control should be made with caution and certainty, not only efficiency. This is the end of the video for special VFR. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant and his family who died in the tragic accident. ATC for you.